Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we are covering a very important health issue.
That's right. That's right. In case of an emergency, maybe somebody stops breathing, so we need to apply CPR. Now, what is this procedure? Well, let's take a look at it in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
CPR in English is an acronym. That means C, P, and R all stand for different words. The big phrase here is cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
All right.
So you don't have to remember that.
Well, that's pretty hard. What if you break it down? So what is cardio?
Cardio means it has to do with your heart.
And then pulmonary?
Pulmonary means lungs.
It has to do with your lungs. And what about resuscitation?
That means to bring back.
So to resuscitate is to bring back to life.
That's right.
Okay. So this is a very popular procedure. You probably see it in movies when, somebody almost drowned, the lifeguard performs CPR.
Oh, no. The love of my life has just drowned. And then someone comes and they push their chest. And they say 1, 2, 3. And they count.
And then the person spits out water and everything. And they're like... All right.
I always loved you.
All right, so that's CPR. Why don't we listen to this dialogue, see what's going on, and we'll be back shortly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our CPR for Beginners course. First of all, does anyone know what CPR stands for?
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
That's right. We apply CPR in the case of cardiac arrest or pulmonary arrest.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, if your heart stops pumping blood or your lungs stop pumping air, then we need to get them going again. That's when we have to apply this procedure. Let's begin. I need a volunteer.
Me!
All right, come here and lay flat on your back. Let's suppose this young woman has stopped breathing. We must lift the person's chin so that we clear a pathway for air to get into the lungs. Then, we place our mouth over the other person's mouth and blow air 2 or 3 times, like this.
Wait, what are you doing? I'm a married woman. You can't just try to kiss me like that.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to kiss you. I'm trying to demonstrate how to apply CPR in the case of an emergency.
Well, okay, no French kissing.
As I was saying, we blow air through the mouth in this manner. Once this is done, we must try to get the heart going again. To do this, we place our hands over the person's chest and press down firmly 2 or 3 times.
Wait, what are you doing? You can't just kiss me then go for second base.
All right, we're back. So a couple of pretty difficult words and phrases there, but don't worry. We'll explain them now in Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
The first phrase we've got today is cardiac arrest.
All right, so cardiac arrest. Now, cardiac, I think that has to do with the heart again, right?
Exactly, your heart.
And what about arrest?
Well, arrest means 2 things. Maybe you've heard of this meaning to arrest somebody. The police arrested someone. Well, this means to stop.
To stop.
Okay? So we're not talking about the police here. We're talking about the heart stopping.
Okay.
So cardiac arrest means when your heart stops.
Okay, and another word that's right next to it, pulmonary arrest. So I'm guessing, again, pulmonary has to do with lungs.
That's right.
And arrest stops, so your lungs stop pumping air.
Exactly. So cardiac and pulmonary arrest, these are 2 times when your heart or your lungs, they stop doing what they are supposed to do.
All right, and interestingly enough, the heart pumps blood, the lungs pump air, and that's our next word. What is this word to pump?
To pump means to fill something with, okay? So, for example, the heart pumps blood to the rest of your body. That means it's always making sure your body has blood going into it. And the same thing with your lungs. Your lungs help oxygen and air get to the rest of your body. So they pump it. They fill up with air.
Okay. And we can do the same in other things. For example, you pump air into your tire.
That's right. If you have a flat tire, you're riding your bicycle and your bicycle won't move. Oh no, you have to pump it with air. That means fill it up with air.
Okay. Or maybe even pump water, right? Like in your house.
Or pump your car up with gas.
Okay. All right, very good. So now the man is going to explain how to perform this procedure, CPR, and he asks for a volunteer.
Okay, a volunteer. This is a word that can be both a noun, so a thing, and it can be an action, a verb.
Okay, so who is or what is a volunteer?
A volunteer is someone who offers to do something for free.
For free, without you asking them to do it.
Right, so Are there any volunteers in the room?
Right. And
Who
somebody
wants to
says,
write this on the board? Me, I do.
Okay.
You can also volunteer to help people who need help. So, for example, in Haiti, there's an earthquake, and there are many people who offered to volunteer to help Haitians. So that means they said, I will work for free to help these people. A volunteer.
A volunteer, or to volunteer. Very good. So now we have our volunteer, and the man is explaining what to do. Lift the person's chin so that we clear a pathway for air to get into the lungs.
Oh, this is a good one. So a path is like a road. It's where something can go, can move. To clear a pathway means to make some room.
To make a clear path.
So that means, think about it. If you can't breathe, someone has to find a way to make room, to make a hole for you to breathe. So that means to move whatever is blocking you to clear some kind of space.
Okay, so that's a pathway, a clear space. And now, well, he's demonstrating how to perform CPR. So what is this verb, to demonstrate?
To demonstrate is very important. We use this in most kinds of teaching. So to demonstrate is to show or to give an example.
Okay, so for example, here in English Pod, we are demonstrating how to use these words in sentences.
Exactly. So an example is a good way to demonstrate the word or the phrase.
Very good. All right, why don't we listen to this dialogue again, and we'll be back in a bit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our CPR for Beginners course. First of all, does anyone know what CPR stands for?
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
That's right. We apply CPR in the case of cardiac arrest or pulmonary arrest.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, if your heart stops pumping blood or your lungs stop pumping air, then we need to get them going again. That's when we have to apply this procedure. Let's begin. I need a volunteer.
Me.
All right, come here and lay flat on your back. Let's suppose this young woman has stopped breathing. We must lift the person's chin so that we clear a pathway for air to get into the lungs. Then, we place our mouth over the other person's mouth and blow air 2 or 3 times, like this.
Wait, what are you doing? I'm a married woman. You can't just try to kiss me like that.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to kiss you. I'm trying to demonstrate how to apply CPR in the case of an emergency.
Well, okay, no French kissing.
As I was saying, we blow air through the mouth in this manner. Once this is done, we must try to get the heart going again. To do this, we place our hands over the person's chest and press down firmly 2 or 3 times.
Wait, what are you doing? You can't just kiss me then go for second base.
All right, we're back. So now let's go with Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Well, the first phrase in Fluency Builder we hear in the beginning of today's dialogue. The teacher says, well, basically, if your heart stops pumping blood, then we need to get it going again. Okay?
So that's a whole phrase there, to get something going, to get it going. What do you mean by this?
This means to start it up again. Okay? So we could say, I used to teach an English class for my colleagues, but we stopped having it. I'd like to get it going again.
Okay, so you'd like to start it up again.
Exactly.
So usually you're talking about turning something on or getting something started. For example, maybe your car won't start. So if you push it, you can get it going.
Right, to get it going. Or to turn the key is to get it going.
Okay, right. So to get something going. Now, moving on, we have 2 key phrases here that are a little bit spicy, right?
Yeah, they're very romantic. Although this is a CPR class, so it shouldn't be very romantic.
All right, well, this phrase that we have coming up is French kiss. To French kiss someone, or a French kiss.
So the volunteer says, okay, I'm happy to help you, but no French kissing.
Okay,
what
so
is
what
French
is French
kissing?
kissing?
No one wants to answer.
All right, what is it? Well, it is when you kiss someone, but your tongue goes into that other person's mouth.
Ew. All right, so there's a normal kiss. You can kiss your friends on the cheek, but a French kiss means that you use your tongue.
Okay, so I wonder why they call it a French kiss.
Maybe Americans just were too shy.
They blamed it on the French.
Maybe the French listeners out there can tell us.
All right. So now moving on. And she says, okay, no French kissing. Now the man is going to perform CPR, and obviously he has to firmly press down on her chest to get her heart pumping blood, right?
Right, this is a part of CPR. So first of all, you try to give the person air so they can breathe, and then you have to push their chest to start their heart. And this woman, the volunteer, says, hey, what are you doing? You can't just kiss me first and then go for second base.
All right, so what is second base?
Okay, this is a sports metaphor.
With baseball, right?
Baseball.
Because baseball has 4 bases: first, second, third base, and home plate or
Exactly.
home base.
So in romance, when we're talking about dating, we have a way to say first, second, third, and fourth base. First base is kissing.
That's kissing, right? So second base, what would be second base?
Well, in this example, it means touching.
Touching certain parts of the body, right?
Romantic touching.
All right, so second base. And then obviously we have third and fourth, but we're not going to get into that now.
You can look it up on Google, third base and fourth base. We trust that you can find it. But first and second base are very common. It's okay to talk about. It's not a bad word.
So you'll probably see it in movies, young kids talking about first base or going to second base with someone. So it's kind of saying this in a different way, as a metaphor, as you said.
It's more polite than
Subtle.
talking about.
It's
Yeah,
subtle.
more subtle.
All right, so that's all the words and phrases we have on Fluency Builder. Let's listen to this great dialogue one last time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our CPR for Beginners course. First of all, does anyone know what CPR stands for?
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
That's right. We apply CPR in the case of cardiac arrest or pulmonary arrest.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, if your heart stops pumping blood or your lungs stop pumping air, then we need to get them going again. That's when we have to apply this procedure. Let's begin. I need a volunteer.
Me! Me!
All right, come here and lay flat on your back. Let's suppose this young woman has stopped breathing. We must lift the person's chin so that we clear a pathway for air to get into the lungs. Then, we place our mouth over the other person's mouth and blow air 2 or 3 times, like this.
Wait, what are you doing? I'm a married woman. You can't just try to kiss me like that.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to kiss you. I'm trying to demonstrate how to apply CPR in the case of an emergency.
Well, okay, no French kissing.
As I was saying, we blow air through the mouth in this manner. Once this is done, we must try to get the heart going again. To do this, we place our hands over the person's chest and press down firmly 2 or 3 times.
Wait, what are you doing? You can't just kiss me then go for second base.
All right, we're back. So a CPR class, this is actually a very popular thing to take up. You never know when you need to perform it, right?
That's true, and I think it's a really smart smart class to take. You can usually take them for free at a community center or a fire department.
The Red Cross.
The Red Cross. I have a Red Cross certification.
Oh, really? So you know how to perform this?
Yep.
Wow. It's actually, as I said, I think it would be very useful, and I've never taken a course like this up, but I know how to perform the procedure. So
Yeah.
I'm not certified, though, so I'm not a certified
trust you.
CPR. I'm not a certified CPR person. But it's interesting. Let us know if in your country maybe you can take CPR classes, or maybe you're a CPR certified technician. I don't
Or
know.
maybe you are trained in other ways, so we're curious about those as well.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our new English learning journey. Today we start with a very useful and powerful topic, CPR, or cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This is something you see in movies all the time. Someone falls down, they stop breathing, and then a hero runs over and starts pushing on their chest. Suddenly, they spit out water and start breathing again. Magic? No, it's CPR. But what does CPR really mean? Let's break it down. Cardio means heart. Pulmonary means lungs. Resuscitation means to bring back to life. So CPR means helping someone breathe and move blood when their heart or lungs have stopped working. It's not just a movie trick, it's a real and life-saving procedure. And it's something you can learn. Yes, even in English. Sometimes we hear scary words like cardiac arrest or pulmonary arrest. Arrest doesn't mean going to jail here. It means stop. So when your heart stops, cardiac arrest, or your lungs stop, pulmonary arrest, you need CPR. You need someone to get things going again, to get the heart and lungs working. In this podcast, we'll use fun and simple explanations to help you understand CPR in English. You'll learn useful vocabulary like volunteer, procedure, demonstrate, get it going, and even some surprising expressions like French kiss and second base. You'll see why it comes up, don't worry. Now that we know CPR means helping the heart and lungs get going again, let's take a closer look at how it's done, and learn more real English along the way. Imagine someone is lying on the floor and not breathing. The first step in CPR is to lay them flat on their back. Flat means their whole body is touching the ground, and on their back means their face is up. But breathing can't happen if the air has no way to get in. That's why we need to lift the person's chin. Why? Because this helps clear a pathway. Think of a pathway like a little road for the air. If the path is blocked, air can't go in. So we make room, we open up the way for the air to travel into the lungs. This phrase, clear a pathway, is also useful in everyday English. For example, if your hallway is full of boxes, you might need to clear a path to walk through. In CPR, it means making space inside the body, helping the air reach where it needs to go. After the airway is clear, it's time to help the lungs. You do this by blowing air into the person's mouth. This might sound strange, but it's important. You're not trying to kiss anyone, you're helping them breathe again. In the podcast, there's a funny moment where the volunteer says, "No French kissing." That's a type of romantic kiss, but in CPR, we're just doing a life-saving technique. So remember, lay the person flat, lift the chin, clear a pathway for air, blow air gently. Every step is important, and every step gives you a chance to learn new English. This isn't just about saving a life, it's also about building your vocabulary in a way you'll never forget. Once we help the person breathe, it's time to focus on the heart. The heart is a muscle that pumps blood through the body. If it stops, the body doesn't get the oxygen it needs. That's why we must act fast. In CPR, after giving air, we need to get the heart going again. We do this by using our hands. You place your hands on the person's chest and press down firmly. Not just a soft push, you need to press with enough strength to help the heart move blood again. In English, you may hear the word pump a lot. The heart pumps blood, just like we pump air into a bicycle tire or pump gas into a car. To pump means to push something into or through something else. So when you press on the chest, you're trying to pump blood, just like the heart normally does. There's another useful phrase in this part, get it going again. This means to restart something. You can use it with many things in English. I took a break from studying, but now I want to get it going again. The machine stopped working, so I called someone to get it going again. My English lessons were on hold, but it's time to get them going again. Learning CPR in English gives you the chance to understand how the body works and how to use action words like pump, press, and get going. These are not just medical terms, they're part of everyday conversation. Also, don't forget, when you're learning how to help someone else, you're helping yourself too. You're becoming more confident, more prepared, and more fluent in English, one heartbeat at a time. Learning CPR is not only about knowing what to do, it's also about practicing it. In the podcast, the teacher asks for a volunteer. This is someone who offers to help, not because they are paid, but because they want to help. In English, to volunteer means to offer your time or service for free. Volunteering is a beautiful word. You can volunteer at a hospital, in a school, or even to help a friend. It's about kindness. And in a CPR class, it means helping others learn by letting them practice with you. In the lesson, the teacher says, "Come here and lay flat on your back." This is important. When you lay flat, your whole body touches the ground. And on your back means your face is up. This position makes it easier to breathe and easier for someone to perform CPR. Then the teacher starts to demonstrate the steps. To demonstrate means to show how something works. It's not just talking, it's showing with action. For example, a cooking show demonstrates how to make a cake. Your teacher demonstrates how to say a new word. In CPR, the instructor demonstrates how to save a life. Sometimes, during a demonstration, people can get confused, especially when it looks too real. In the podcast, the volunteer jokes, "You can't just kiss me like that." This shows how CPR can feel personal, but it's not about romance. It's about emergency help. This is also a great chance to learn tone and humor in English. The woman says, "No French kissing," a phrase that usually means romantic kissing with the tongue. But in CPR, it's simply blowing air to help the person breathe. It's a funny moment, but it teaches you that English often mixes serious topics with light jokes. So in this part, you learn how to volunteer, lay flat and on your back, demonstrate something, understand humor and polite boundaries in English. Learning English isn't just about grammar. It's about understanding how people speak, act, and respond, especially when the situation is serious but the conversation is friendly. Now you've helped the person breathe, great job. But CPR isn't finished yet. Breathing is only one part. The heart also needs to work again. That's why the next step is to press on the chest and help the heart pump blood. In the lesson, the instructor says to press down firmly on the person's chest. Firmly means with strength, not too soft and not too hard. Just strong enough to help the heart move blood to the body and brain. This is where CPR feels active. You're not waiting, you're doing. You're using your hands to pump blood just like the heart does. In English, the word pump can be used in many ways. The heart pumps blood. The lungs pump air. You pump gas at the gas station. You pump up a tire on your bicycle. This verb is super useful and you'll hear it often in daily life. But let's pause for a second. In the podcast, something funny happens again. The woman says, "You can't just kiss me and then go for second base." This is a popular expression in American culture. It's a baseball metaphor. In baseball, you run to first base, second base, third base, and then home. In romance, people sometimes use these as a joke to talk about physical closeness. First base means kissing. Second base means touching someone romantically. Of course, in a CPR class, no one is trying to do that. But the woman is making a joke, and it helps you understand how people play with language, even in serious situations. This part of the lesson teaches you action verbs like press, pump, and blow. How to describe strength using words like firmly. How idioms and expressions like second base can be part of cultural English. How humor and seriousness sometimes mix in spoken English. CPR is serious, but learning it in English can also be fun, full of movement, and full of new expressions. CPR is something you hope you never need, but if you do, it can save a life. That's why this lesson is more than just vocabulary. It's about understanding how to talk and act in an emergency. Let's review what happens in this kind of situation. A person stops breathing, their heart isn't working, and someone nearby needs to act fast. This is called an emergency. In English, an emergency is a sudden and dangerous situation where someone needs help right away. The instructor in the podcast says, in the case of cardiac arrest or pulmonary arrest, we must apply this procedure. That's an important sentence, full of real English you can use in other situations too. In the case of means, if this happens. Procedure means a way of doing something step by step. For example, in the case of fire, leave the building immediately. The cooking procedure says to mix the eggs first. These are very useful structures in both formal and daily English. Also, the instructor uses the word suppose. Let's suppose this person has stopped breathing. This is a great learning moment. To suppose means to imagine or to think about a situation that is not real, at least not yet. Here are some examples. Let's suppose it rains tomorrow. What will we do? Suppose you meet your favorite actor. What would you say? Let's suppose your car breaks down. Who will you call? By learning CPR language, you also learn how to talk about possibilities, how to describe steps in order, and how to respond when something serious happens. So this part gives you strong expressions like in the case of and procedure. Smart verbs like suppose. The ability to think and talk clearly in emergencies. English you can use in first aid, work, school, or even in movies. Remember, being calm, clear, and confident in English can help in any emergency, and that's what CPR training and English learning is all about. You've now followed the whole CPR journey, from understanding what CPR means to learning how to clear a pathway, pump the chest, and get the heart going again. But this lesson is more than just first aid. It's a powerful way to grow your English in real-life situations. You've learned how to use action verbs like press, pump, blow, and demonstrate. Understand phrases like cardiac arrest, lay flat, and volunteer. Recognize cultural expressions like French kiss and second base. Speak about emergencies using phrases like in the case of, procedure, and suppose. These words and expressions don't only belong in a classroom. You'll hear them in movies, in conversations, in health classes, and sometimes in real life. That's what makes this topic so useful. Even more important, this kind of learning builds your confidence. You didn't just learn grammar or memorize a list. You followed a full real-world experience in English. And now you can explain a process, ask for help, describe a problem, and even add some humor, all in English. So what comes next? Keep learning. Keep practicing. Try explaining CPR to a friend in English. Watch a scene from a movie where someone uses CPR and listen for the vocabulary. Or imagine you're teaching a CPR class. What would you say? Every time you use these new words, they become part of your active English. And just like CPR helps bring a person back to life, your practice helps bring your English to life. You've done something amazing. You learned how to help others and help yourself grow. Stay strong, stay curious, and keep going.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Emergency procedure for reviving heart and lung function. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Represent. Stand for. In the matter of someone or something. In the case of. Failure of the pumping action of the heart. Cardiac arrest. The cessation of breathing. Pulmonary arrest. A manner of proceeding. Procedure. A person who performs voluntarily. Volunteer. Lie down with all parts of the body touching the floor. Lay flat. Face up, lying on the floor. On your back. Assume to be true. Suppose. A kiss in which the tongue enters the partner's mouth. French kiss. Touch the breast. Go for second base.
Let something work again. Get going.
Let's try that faster.
Let something work again. Get going.
Lie down with all parts of the body touching the floor. Lay flat. Failure of the pumping action of the heart. Cardiac arrest. In the matter of someone or something. In the case of. Touch the breast. Go for second base. A kiss in which the tongue enters the partner's mouth. French kiss. Assume to be true. Suppose. A manner of proceeding. Procedure. Represent. Stand for. A person who performs voluntarily. Volunteer. The cessation of breathing. Pulmonary arrest. Emergency procedure for reviving heart and lung function. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Face up, lying on the floor. On your back.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Cardiac arrest.
He is going into cardiac arrest. Pass me the defibrillator.
Cardiac arrest.
During cardiac arrest, victims lose consciousness, stop normal breathing, and lose pulse and blood pressure.
Cardiac arrest.
If a person goes into cardiac arrest, you should apply CPR.
Suppose.
Let's suppose I'm your boyfriend. Would you marry me?
Suppose.
Scientists suppose many things in science which they later try to prove.
Suppose.
Suppose we win the lottery. What would we spend the money on? Get going. If your car doesn't start, you can push it to get it going. Get going. You have to cheer up and get yourself going again. Get going. You have to wind up this toy to get it going.
French kiss.
The first time I French kissed a girl was when I was 18.
French kiss.
The French kiss is a timeless and passionate gesture of romantic affection.
French kiss.
Most high schools prohibit French kissing because it is considered an inappropriate display of affection.
Go for second base.
Some friends were bragging about how they got to second base with a girl.
Go for second base.
I would never try to go to second base with a girl. I am too shy.
Go for second base.
I think that you shouldn't go to second base with someone until you are married.